Hello, Bianca, Desiree, Shanika, Kristen, Keisha, Victoria, Ruth, Natalie, Nancy, Diane, Brandy, Nicole, Yvette, Lisa, Joe, and Karen. Thanks for another excellent week of discussion and also your work on the first part of the project management plan. I appreciate all your hard work. We had some great discussion about scope. Scope really is the heart of project management. It is the thing that defines the project, and a well-defined scope, a well-managed scope, a scope that engages stakeholders is something that almost guarantees a successful project in some ways. As so many of you pointed out, Diane said the scope, a well-defined scope, a well-worded scope is vital to success. Ruth said the scope is like a map. It maps out the project. It tells us where we're going to go, what we're going to do, how we're going to get there. And that's exactly right. That's what a scope does. It sets the boundaries and tells us where we're going. And if we do that well, that is a huge step towards success. Nicole said that the scope helps people understand what the expectations are. And as a project manager, when you write the scope and you send it to the stakeholders and they say, oh no, that's not what I meant, then you know at the beginning when you're starting the planning, okay, that's not what the stakeholders want. We have to figure out something else, rather than assuming what the stakeholders want and just going off in another direction and then finding out that it's not exactly what people wanted, and then the project fails. And Shanika pointed out a well-defined scope helps with resource allocation, because if you know what results you want, if you know what the deliverables are, you can figure out what resources you need to produce those deliverables. And yet at the same time, even though it's very important from the beginning to have a well-defined, well-written, well-articulated scope, Victoria points out changes to the scope are inevitable. We live in a world of rapid change. And so things are going to come up. There's going to be changes in prices of supplies. There's going to be a stakeholder that says, no, that's not what I wanted. I didn't want that. I wanted this. There are going to be changes to the scope. So the question is how do you manage those changes? And some of you pointed out that scope management is a very important part of the project management process. And here's the thing, is that as we talk about project management process and the deliverables or the things that are the results of project management, some of those things are internal to project management. So in other words, in scope management, as you're managing the scope and you have a process to manage the scope, the output of that scope management is a change in scope, right? It's a change in the scope. It's a change in what your scope is for the project and what your plan is for the project in some of the details of the project. So the output is not something that, or the deliverable is not something that actually goes to the sponsor or to the customer or to the client, but it's an internal thing. So some deliverables in project management are internal. And of course, the main deliverables, or we might say the most important deliverables are external. So whatever the service or the product is that's eventually going to get sent out, that's the prime deliverable. But on the way to that main deliverable, on the main way to the ebook, right, there are many other deliverables, as many of you had pointed out in your project management plans. So as many of you have pointed out, one of the deliverables is trained employees. That's a deliverable. That is one of the results of the project plan. Now, does that directly go to the customer or the consumer? No, but it's a deliverable. It is a result. It's internal to the project plan. And then there are, as I said, those results like the actual ebook that gets sent to the university bookstore. Yes, that's a deliverable too. But both of those things are considered deliverables. They are both products or the results of the careful planning that you're doing as a project manager. Karen also pointed out that a good scope enables good communication, and many of you have emphasized how important communication is. And it's almost impossible to overemphasize how important communication is in project management. As a project manager, it's certainly true that communication is your highest priority. The manager is connecting so many different people and making sure that they know what the plan is and what's important to do at this particular time and which deliverables are most urgent. So communication both with the stakeholders, with the sponsor, with the employees, and sometimes even with customers, it's crucial. It's crucial. So thank you for that, Karen. And Joe gave us an example from real life of Victoria's emphasis that changes to the scope are inevitable. Joe's a person from Switzerland that always had something else to do. Thank you, Joe, for that, because it shows us this really happens. People really do try to change what their expectations are. And then as a project manager, you have to deal with that and see how you can maneuver things and still try to produce something that satisfies everybody. So thank you for another great week of discussion. Thank you for your work on part 1 of the project management plan. And as always, if there is any way that I can help you, or if there are any questions that you have, reach out to me. Thanks a lot.